Greetings and welcome to Make It Make Sense. Today, we're going to dive into the book of Genesis and we're going to discover how so many people around the world was fed with such a nonsense as the fourth day creation of God. If you have any little bit of common sense, you would realize that without the sun, there's no life and there's no light. And also without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. Therefore, you could never have a day in the absence of the sun. Yet, they convince the entire world to believe that God created the sun and the moon on the fourth day. So, the first day, the second day, and the third day took place, yet there was no sun. You have to be real dumb and delusional to really believe that. You see, there can never be any light unless there's darkness, and there could be no darkness unless there is light. You see, when you understand the law of opposite or the law of polarity, then you will understand that the creation story is all about your mind is the power to create your reality consciously. Because God represents your invisible self, your non-physical self. So out of the non-physical comes the physical. That is why it is very important for you to understand the Bible from a metaphysical standpoint, from an esoteric standpoint, from a psychological standpoint, because it is actually a book of mind science. Let me repeat that. The Bible is actually a book of mind science. It all have to do with the mind. Everything was first a thought, it was first an idea, it was first imagined. Everything is created first in the mind, first in the invisible, and then it's been established, or it's been materialized in the physical three-dimensional world that you can contact with the five senses. So if you never understand that the Bible is a book of mind science and you believe it to be literal and secular history, you'll always get trapped in false identity. And you'll always be looking outwardly instead of focusing your energy inwardly and using your mind power to create your reality consciously. Okay, so there's no way that you can be religious and superstitious and make sense of the Genesis story believing that there was a fourth day creation of the sun and the moon. And you realize that there are millions of people around the world call themselves Seventh-day Adventists. And people say they keep it Sabbath, yet they created nothing. And they fail to realize that there could be no day without the sun. They fail to realize that every day is Sunday. Yeah, because you can have no day without the sun. And it is basically one day that just keep repeating all over again. It's just a cycle, and the cycle is light and darkness, whereby you either asleep or you're awake. And that is what constitutes all of life. So basically, the way how you go to bed and the way how you're awake is what is basically shaping your life. So if you go to bed like as an idiot, you're going to wake up still acting and thinking and believing like an idiot. If you go to bed being real conscious and being quite aware and thinking for yourself, taking control of your mind, that is how you would awake also. Okay, so my brother and my sisters, think deeply and understand the Bible story from a metaphysical standpoint. It's all mind science. You see, out of the darkness comes the what? The light. So out of the non-physical comes what? The physical. So when it tells you in Genesis that in the beginning God, it is telling you that everything begins from the invisible. God just represents your non-physical self, your invisible self. And everything that been created comes out of your consciousness, your awareness from the subconscious mind. And whatsoever you impress on your subconscious mind, it will definitely materialize. That is basically what it is teaching you in Genesis. So when they talk about the sun and the moon and all of these different things, they're just symbology. Okay, to show you the creation story of how you could create your reality consciously and live your life on this planet as a conscious and a deliberate creator, knowing that you're God in flesh and that this is just a dream. That's why people just get their dream car, the dream house, the dream job, and so on, because it's a dream. And the dreamer in you is God. Okay, that's why they say God don't sleep. So when you lie down and this physical body is shut down, then the spiritual body is in control. God is fully in control. That's why I say God don't ever sleep. Okay? So, my brother, my sisters, be conscious of how you go to bed each night and how you awake each morning. And remember that it is just one cycle happening over and over again. So you have the power to bend reality to your will. And how are you going to do it? Through your mind. That's why you're told to not be conformed, but you must be transformed by the what? The renewing of your mind. You want transformation in your life? You have to rearrange your mind. You have to renew your mind. You have to get rid of all of the old limiting beliefs that was passed down to you and learn to think for yourself. That is why the preachers all around the world, when they read for you about the fourth day creation and they interpret the Bible to you as literal and secular history that is pointing to look outwardly, it is all nonsense. And it is keeping you trapped in your ego self. And most of all, keeping you trapped in false identity, not knowing who you are, neither how to use your power to achieve your every desire. So with that being said, my brother, my sisters, I hope what I say makes sense to you. And if it do, and it really resonates with you and you haven't subscribed already, I'm definitely encouraging you to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share this video. Also, if you like to follow me on Instagram, you like to follow me on TikTok, you can definitely follow me at Black Mad Guru. If you like to get my books, you have about 10 or more books to choose from. The links are all down in the description. Check them out. Also, if you like to book a one-on-one with me, you can drop me an email. We can set up a one-on-one. If you want to be a part of my Patreon community, you're welcome. For people donating $20 or more, I have a course there that is called the Inner Sun Science and Technology to create your reality consciously. And along with that is a bonus course on self-concept. And with the Inner Sun is where I'm teaching where the sun parallels the human imagination and the human imagination parallels the sun. For without the sun, there's no life and there's no light. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. And the Lord thy God is a sun, S-U-N. And a shield and no good thing with you withhold from you. I would like to teach you more about that. Okay. So there's a lot of videos that you can definitely listen to help you on your spiritual journey. Also, if you want to become a part of my Free Thinkers and Seekers University, you're welcome. You know, I try my best either weekly or every other week to post a masterclass to help you on your spiritual journey. But whatsoever is your desire, my last encouragement to you is to make sure that you check out all of the links that are down below and definitely let your intuition lead you and guide you into what to do. So with that being said, I just want to say peace. Love you all. I'm out.